This is part 27, From Trust to Trauma. Dating my therapist. Let's get into this night chronicles. So this officer just leaves my house telling me I just got served. What? Who needs protection from me? No, you didn't. And the killing part is that we filed on the same day. Cousin, I'm flipping through the pages, right? So I'm looking at her statement. She's like, she threatened to kill me on April 12th, 2024. Girl, yes, she did. Yes, she did. I did what? I threatened? I don't make threats, sweets. She states that I have been blackmailing her if she doesn't continue to pay the rent. Blackmailing you? You ain't have the rent, baby. So what's so crazy to me is that initially she said she was going to pay 80% towards the rent. But now, all of a sudden, I'm blackmailing you to pay it? Nah. We ain't going to do that. She wants me to stay at the home and be financially responsible because she is unemployed. Hold on, cousin. Hey, Jasmine, how's that Oscar engraving coming? Oh, it's coming along. Okay. And threatened to kill me. I'm unemployed. I want you to stay. Ma'am, I told you can pack up your shit the day before you did. Then she claims that the leasing company refuses to let her out of her lease, putting her life in much danger. This can't be real life. The biggest thing about this, the thing that really pisses me off, is the fact that you made a strong-ass claim that I was going to take your life on paper. Not even gonna lie to you, cousin. Like, this shit really had me spiraling. Like, it was days where I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. And, like, when I read the whole paper, y'all, I just sat on my couch in silence. I didn't even know what to say, what to do. Because for the first time, like, in a long time, I felt so defeated. I was just like, this is a never-ending cycle. And I've never been in any type of legal situation like this. So for me to even have the courage to go down here to protect myself, this is what you do? Wow. So something just, came over me, and it was just like, Dream, you got everything you need, baby, to change your circumstance. Don't give up now. Use it. So I remember I took a picture of what she had left at the house. That lit counter on the floor. Yeah, cousin. That lit counter and that incense next to that object. I sent it over to the landlord, and I told him, listen, I'm a mother of a 14-year-old, and we are afraid for our safety. We were living with someone who we trust, and she has now become someone who we are afraid of. I have a protective order against her. She has left a lit candle in the floor to put our lives in risk of danger of a fire, which is very dangerous to the property. I'm sure you wouldn't want somebody like that in your home. Oh, yeah, I went there. So he responded back, and he said that he was going to do an out-of-policy exception for me. He was going to send a request up to the leasing team to have her removed from the lease. They sent out a signature to the both of us. I signed, and I got a notification that she signed, which I was actually kind of shocked about, but she did. Released. Cousin, I got that thing off my lease, baby. They said you are now the only person that is on this thing. Thank you. Next time you pull up, you leaving with them officers, ma'am. For a little while, cousin, things had got quiet. I hadn't heard from her. She hadn't heard from me. So I ended up getting an email of her telling me that she was in town because she had to go to an eye doctor's appointment, and that she was going to replace my plants that she stole. Yeah. So she went to Home Depot and she replaced my plants. I wasn't at home at the time, but she did drop them off on my porch, where she stole them from originally. And then she cashed out me $100, $111 to be exact, to replace the things that she stole from the house. Yeah. Then she ordered me a new coffee Keurig machine and sent it to the house. Yeah. Now, y'all already know that 1K, that was late, so y'all stay with me now. And guess what else, cousin? She dismissed the case. If I'm lying, I'm flying, bitch. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She dismissed the case. And I'm like, I kind of knew that was going to happen because, ma'am, you was finna get embarrassed in the courtroom, honey. I was coming with a briefcase, portfolio, all that. Just when I thought that the chapter was about to close. So she tells me why she even filed in the first place. Yeah, she did. She told me that the reason why she had called me that day, those 3 times, is because she wanted to propose something to me, but she didn't trust me fully. So instead of her telling me over the phone, she wanted to tell me in person. And that's why she pulled up, because she thought that was going to convince me to actually talk to her. But listen up, that's what she said. So I'm listening, I'm like, okay. And she's like, well, I filed a protective order because I knew that that was going to get me off of the lease. I wanted to scare you, so that way you would then file a protective order against me as well. So we can look as if basically we're not a good fit to live with one another. Bitch, I was born January 3rd, 1994. Not today. So now I'm trying to put all this shit behind me so I can move on with my life, right? So I start to seek out a new therapist. I'm already suffering with PTSD from even talking to anybody new. So I end up matching with one, and she's an older lady. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. We have our first session, everything cool. And then, she asked me what I want to focus on and everything, And so I tell her briefly about the story. So she's like, I can just listen to the background. It sounds like she lifting up in her seat. Like, you said your therapist. Whoo, hallelujah. She's like, and when was this? Really? Oh, we need to report this. Have you considered reporting this to the board? This is not okay. And I was like, yeah, I thought about it, and she's just like, well, we need to work on that. Let's set up a game plan to where we can, get this in motion, basically, right? So we were supposed to follow up and start that process that Sunday, but something happened to where I had to reschedule my session. And baby, let's just say Miss Ma'am snuck and did it herself. Baby, she said I took too long, baby. Grandma Gigi said, no, ma'am. Not on my watch. So when she did it, she didn't tell me she did it. But I found out from guess who? So I get an email from Kay, and she's telling me that she's under investigation and currently suspended from her employer because of our relationship. And I was like, what? I said, huh? Say what? So I responded, and I'm like, I'm so confused. I was like, I didn't do it. I was like, but, and I thought to myself, and I was just like, damn. She was like, aren't you in therapy? And I was like, I am. She was like, did you tell your therapist about it? And I was like, I did. And she was like, damn, she must have reported me. It's all good, though, And then she turned into Lay. So I already know you about to ask. Miss Ma'am, how did she know you was in therapy? Well, I can explain. When she sent all that stuff to me, I was just like, you know what? I appreciate your act of kindness. It seems like we're in a good place. I just want you to be able to move forward, and I can move forward. I'm already in therapy, so let's just close this chapter peacefully, shall we? And that's how she knew I was in therapy. So yeah, my therapist did her big one. So then Kay is like, it's all good. You know, it had to come to the light at some point. You know, maybe this is an opportunity for you to tell your story and for you to, you know, find your voice again and free yourself. Who the fuck is this? Lay? It gotta be, because it ain't Kay. So then she says, you know, money ain't never an issue for me, but I'll be back on my feet or whatever. So, you know, it's all good. And I'm going to go ahead and report myself to the counseling board. Okay. Then she sends me this old nice paragraph wishing me well and said that, you know, she hate that she put me through all this stuff, you know, but it was time and all this stuff, right? So I tells my therapist about the situation. So she's like, you believe that? You believe she reported herself to the board? I was like, I mean, that's what she said. She sent me, you know, a copy of the email. She was just like, we talking about Kay. I'm like, damn. Shit, we are talking about Kay. You right. So my therapist, she then sent me a form and said, fill this out. This is an authorization so I can speak on your behalf, so I can reach out to the board and let them know about this issue. I was like, oop, Gigi ain't playing. So I complied. Because, ma'am, I know you're going to do it if I don't. Not even a couple of days went by. Why did Kay hack into my email, saw the form, and reached out to my therapist? Now my therapist has disappeared on me.